All right, welcome back to the channel, you guys. I'm going to talk about a series I found on HBO Max, which, oh my God, this is a serious killer one season show. That's all I can say. And it's called Station 11. I mean, wow. This has, let me count, because I got pulled up on my HBO Max. This has got 10 episodes, and they all about 45 minutes. The longest one they have is 59. You have the episode 10 is 59, episode 9 is 57, episode 8 is 57, episode 7 is 52, and then episode 5 is 54. And the rest of them are 44, 44, 49, 46, and 45. Wow. I'm going to read the plot synopsis, and I cannot even begin to cover this. All I'm telling you, if you guys are listening to this thing, try it out. It's a slow burn though. You gotta realize it's a slow burn, but it is technically broke down so well. When I watched this, I was like, huh. And then when I watched it again, I was like, I watched second episode. It doesn't pick up right after second episode. What it does is it goes into the story, and it just, you think when you're not going to get the conclusion to whatever was in another episode, it might come back in an episode afterwards. This is a phenomenal show. It's based on the best-selling novel. Post-apocalyptic saga follows the survivors of a devastating flu as they attempt to rebuild and reimagine the world anew, while holding on to the best of what's been lost. And man, whoo, wow, this is just the first season is called Wheel of Fire, A Hawk from the Handsaw, Hurricane, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern aren't dead. Yeah, that's what it says. The Severance City Airport, Survival is insufficient. Goodbye, my damaged home. Who's there? Dr. Chard Harry, Unbroken Circle. Look, there's a part in here where these two Indian guys, I think they're from India, they got stuck with this little white girl. And this little white girl, the guy that she was with was supposed to take her home, but he had a heart attack. Well, the Indian guy seen her standing outside, so he decided to take her to her mom's house, but he seen her standing outside, so he wanted to make sure she was all right. But then she said, yeah, so when he's getting ready to go home, because he's calling his sister's a doctor. And then he gets in his car, he sees the little white girl standing outside, and it's cold. So he walks up to her, and she's like, well, my mom and dad ain't here. So she takes him to his mom and dad's. And meantime, he's hearing all these things on the news, and he's talking to his sister on the phone. And his sister is saying that, there's a terrible flu outbreak, and I'm at the hospital, and everything's going haywire. This flu was so bad, it mutated like nothing. It was the flu, and it wiped out a lot of people. People was dying left and right. Well, when he took her up to her mom and dad's house, her mom and dad wouldn't answer the door, so he had to take her with him, and so he had to go get a bunch of groceries because he thought that he kept hearing all this bad news, and his sister on the phone was telling him this is not good. So he goes and takes this little white girl to his brother's apartment. And his brother, man, oh man, there's so many things in this movie. Well, his brother opens up the door, and he has all these groceries. His brother opens up the door, and these guys are from India. His brother opens up the door, and he sees his brother with this little white girl. She's only 8. He goes, a white girl? And he goes, and he walks in, he goes, shut up. He started talking to him, and then that's how this movie's set up. They're stuck with this little white girl. And then as the series progresses, she's trying to call her mom and dad. She finds out they died. Well, then it goes to the next season. She's grown up, but she's with this traveling, it's after everything got wiped out. But there's a guy named Arthur that had a heart attack. It ties into him. Arthur's best friend, it ties into him. It ties into Arthur's first wife, who wrote this book called Station 11. It's all around this book called Station 11. And so it's the main character is the little girl, but it goes back and forth to when she's older, like in her mid-20s. Like she can't be no older than 20. Then it goes to when you're watching it, you think that that's it. But it's so many things because they kept doing these plays in this. It's almost like watching a play. And they kept doing these plays. And then Arthur's second wife had another boy, which this boy had something to do. He also had a main objective. But then they went into how they just traveled and did these performances. But at the same time, life, wow, I wish I could explain it, but you need to find somebody that is like a reviewer. But it's really good. It's really good. It is thoughtful. It's heartfelt. It when you think that you could sit there and go like, oh man, okay, I wonder what ever become of so and so. I wonder how that played out. And then you be watching the series and you be all hooked into it. 2 episodes later, it goes back to that and it starts explaining that to you. And you get a good, like, you just got your conclusion to whatever you thought that they might have not left you hanging on. Wow, this show is, I don't know why I like this show. And what was so weird is like, I seen it and it showed a picture of a little white girl, which is the main character. It shows her little and it shows her in her 20s. And it shows her surviving by herself and also shows her what each person and each individual, it breaks. Wow. I'm saying, wow. It would take me an hour to go through this whole thing for you. I'm asking you guys to give this a shot. It's a little, there's some parts in there I didn't care for because I'm not into certain things, but they didn't get too into that. But it's just a complete to the hill conclusion, and it touches your heart. There's moments in there it gets to you. There's moments where you're just like, wow, I can see that really happening, man. And it shows you how you can lose somebody and how it affects you in a certain way, and just now each and every person individually is devastated by what's going on, and somebody had lost somebody and stuff like that. Oh my God, you guys, this is just, wow, this is just, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. I'm so glad that I seen it. Because like I said, I seen a picture of this little girl looking off like this, and I said, what's that all about? No, they got stuff on your channel, and it said Station 11. I said, Station 11? What's that? So I clicked on it, and I played the first episode, and I was like, nah, I don't think I'll get into this. But it's one of those ones where it just like wines, man, wines. But it's so methodically explained out. I mean, really explained out. I'm talking detailed. I'm talking detailed. I'm talking like, boom. They should get an award for this. This was some phenomenal acting. If people don't like this, I don't know why they couldn't. It was so good. It was so good. Those 2 Indian guys, you had the mom that was the son of the little kid that named himself the Prophet. You had the little kids in there that had these little bombs strapped on them. You had the girl, which is the little white girl. It flipped back and forth, her being stuck with these 2 Indian guys because they're trying to do the best they could. It showed how the brother lost his other brother, and then he dealt with that. It showed how he went after that little girl's book because she did something. She kept reading this book, which was called Station 11. He got mad at her, and when she went to go check a trap, he threw the book off in the snow. So later on that night, she wanted her book, and then she said she's going out at night, and he yelled at her and said no. And then she sat there and she goes, "Why you don't like me so much?" And he was like, I just, because he wasn't used to watching the kid, but I know he cared for her. And then, she started bawling because that little girl been through a lot. But then he decides to go out at night, and he decides to go get that book, and a wolf attacks him, and just about did him in. So he wakes up the next day, he leaves that little girl in that cabin because they had to stay there because you talking about a post-apocalyptic era because this flu wiped everybody out. But then when he wakes up in this place where it's a bunch of pregnant women. And they thought he was a doctor. And boy, was that episode something. That episode was a trip. And then the whole time he's worried about this little 8-year-old girl, almost 9. And she ended up, that's the part where she ends up surviving on her own. Just like this little kid that ended up surviving. There's so many different stories, so many different things, so many different, And it just, each time when I'm thinking I'm watching something, don't surprise me and put this piece in the puzzle. It's like, boom, there's your answer to that. There's that thing that you might have thought that we might not have. He ain't skip over nothing in this. Anyway, God bless you guys. And I hope I wasn't too long. And stay safe out there. Station 11. Woo! HBO Max. Boy, this is top quality. God bless. Take care. We'll catch you next video. We'll see you.